Ultimately, though, the most powerful check we have on Trump's authoritarianism is not the Congress, it is not the courts, it is the American people. It is all of us, each of us. Fear is Donald Trump's weapon of choice. Divide and conquer is his one repugnant strategy. Law firm against law firm, media outlet against media outlet, neighbor against neighbor. He counts on us being too scattered to oppose him, too scared of a truth social media post or an executive order, or the very real threat of physical harm for anyone to push back. So there's something incredibly powerful when someone looks King Donald in the eye and says simply and with her whole being, piss off.
Whereas for years, Representative Schiff abused his trust by citing evidence of collusion that, as is clear from reports by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz, and Special Counsel Durham, does not exist.
Adam Schiff strutted into that hearing like he owned the place, stats loaded, questions locked, ready to corner law enforcement on immigration enforcement. What he didn't see coming, getting publicly exposed, repeatedly, on live TV. This wasn't just another hearing. This was the moment Schiff asked the wrong damn question to the wrong people, and got an answer that completely wrecked him. Stick around, because what happened next left the entire room stunned.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I seek recognition to give notice of my intent to raise a question of privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. H-Res 49, censuring and condemning Adam Schiff, representative of California's 30th Congressional District. Whereas the allegation that President Donald Trump colluded with Russia to steal the 2016 presidential election has been revealed as false by numerous in-depth investigations, including the recent report by Special Counsel John Durham, which documents how the conspiracy theory was invented, funded, and spread by President Trump's political rivals. Whereas Representative Adam Schiff, who served as a ranking minority member and then chairman of the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence of the House of Representatives, HPSCI occupied positions of extreme trust, affording him access to sensitive information unavailable to most members of Congress. Whereas for years, Representative Schiff abused his trust by citing evidence of collusion that, as is clear from reports by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz, and Special Counsel Durham, does not exist. Whereas by repeatedly telling these falsehoods, Representative Schiff purposely deceived his committee, Congress, and the American people. Whereas Representative Schiff lent credibility to the Steele dossier, a collection of debunked collusion accusations funded by President Trump's political rivals, by reading false Steele allegations into the congressional record at HPSCI hearing on March 20th, 2017. Whereas once again abusing his privileged access to classified information, Representative Schiff composed a false memo justifying the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA warrant application on Trump associate Carter Page, which Inspector General Horowitz later found riddled with 17 major mistakes and omissions, provoking FISA court presiding judge Rosemary Collyer to state unequivocally that the Federal Bureau of Investigation misled the FISC. Whereas by publicly smearing Carter Page as a Russian collaborator and justifying spurious investigations of him, Representative Schiff contributed to the gross violations of a United States citizen's civil liberties, thereby committing the very abuses the HPSCI is tasked with identifying and thwarting. Whereas HPSCI ranking minority member and chairman Representative Schiff behaved dishonestly and dishonorably on many other occasions, including by falsely denying that his staff coordinated with a whistleblower to launch the first impeachment of President Trump. Whereas part of his impeachment efforts during an HPSCI hearing on September 26, 2019, Representative Schiff recited a false concocted rendition of a phone call between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, whereas Representative Schiff exploited his position on HPSCI to encourage and excuse abusive intelligence investigations of Americans for political purposes. Whereas Representative Schiff used his position and access to sensitive information to instigate a fraudulently based investigation, which then he used to amass political gain and fundraising dollars. Whereas the American taxpayers paid $32 million to fund the investigation into collusion that was launched as a result of Representative Schiff's lies, misrepresentations, and abuses of sensitive information. And whereas it is determined by an investigation conducted by the Committee on Ethics that Representative Schiff lied, made representations, and abused sensitive information, he should be fined the amount of $16 million. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the House of Representatives censures and condemns Adam Schiff, representative of California's 30th Congressional District, for conduct that misleads the American people in a way that is not befitting of an elected member of the House of Representatives. Representative Adam Schiff will forthwith present himself to the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. Representative Schiff will then be censured with a public reading of this resolution by the Speaker, and the Committee on Ethics shall conduct an investigation into Representative Adam Schiff's lies, misrepresentations, and abuses of sensitive information.
Under Rule 9, a resolution offered from the floor by a member other than the majority leader or the minority leader as a question of the privileges of the House has immediate precedence only at a time designated by the chair within 2 legislative days after the resolution is properly noticed. Pending that designation, the form of the resolution noticed by the gentlewoman from Florida will appear in the record at this point. The chair will not at this point determine whether the resolution constitutes a question of privilege. That determination will be made at the time designated for consideration of the resolution.
The questioning kicked off with that classic Schiff showmanship, long dramatic pauses, heavy tone, gotcha posture filling the room like he's auditioning for a political thriller. Problem is, the whole thing was built on quicksand, and the collapse started almost immediately. Adam Schiff's performance here wasn't a minor slip. It was a full-on, real-time credibility meltdown. What he thought was a sharp, targeted takedown turned into a frustrating, circular train wreck that exposed exactly how disconnected he is from actual law enforcement reality. He rolled in swinging with numbers nobody could verify, demanded answers to questions that were fundamentally flawed from the start, and straight up ignored every clear clarification coming from seasoned pros. Both Mr. Allen and Mr. Perez calmly took his assumptions apart, explained plain and simple that immigration enforcement and drug interdiction overlap constantly, and made it crystal that agent reassignments are standard operating procedure for handling national threats, not some shady political plot. But Schiff wasn't there for facts. He was chasing a headline, and in the process, he showed exactly how out of touch he really is with the day-to-day grind of the people actually doing the job. Then came the question, confusing, disconnected, and way too confident for something so half-baked. The witness didn't panic, just delivered a calm, surgical response that sliced straight through the nonsense. One simple clarification exposed the question as completely clueless, turning what was supposed to be a trap into a laughable punchline. And the best part? No jokes were needed. The facts did all the heavy lifting. The witness stayed ice cool, answers stayed razor sharp, and Adam Schiff ended up arguing against himself in real time. What he meant to look like authority ended up looking like a crash course in how not to prepare for a hearing. This moment hit hard, because it exposed the danger of relying on talking points instead of truth. Senate hearings aren't theater, but when someone treats them like a stage, reality has a way of stealing the show and leaving you exposed. The contrast between confidence and competence couldn't have been clearer. By the end, the damage was done. Adam Schiff didn't dominate the room dominated him. The clip will live forever, not as a moment of accountability, but as a brutal reminder that bad questions lead to even worse outcomes. One thing became crystal clear: preparation beats performance every single time. If this breakdown had you nodding hard or laughing out loud, smash that like button, drop a comment with your favorite moment, and subscribe. We're just getting started. More no BS takedowns coming your way. Stay locked in.